Double Troika Heads of State Summit. Last month, dozens of people, including a South African man, were killed when insurgents attacked a hotel in the town of Palma. The summit has been convened by Botswana's President, Mokgweetsi Masisi, in his capacity as chair of the SADC organ on politics, defense and security cooperation. It will deliberate on measures to address terrorism in Mozambique. Insurgents have been terrorizing the Cabo Delgado region in the country's north since 2017. Today's summit comes as the regional body has been heavily criticized for its quiet diplomacy approach to Mozambique's terrorism challenges. For an update on some of the latest developments in Mozambique, we're now joined on the line by SABC News foreign editor Sophie Mokoena. Very good day to you, Sophie. We are aware that South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has already arrived in Mozambique. What can you tell us?
Well, of course, the president arrived earlier this morning and he was received at the airport by the South African High Commissioner in Maputo, the former Army General, that is Piwe Nyanda, who is currently the High Commissioner in Maputo. And currently the meeting perhaps has resumed because this is behind closed doors. Media will only receive information much later. And of course, all eyes are on Mozambique, particularly the citizens of the SADC region, because people have expressed views and fears and wishes in terms of what needs to happen in Mozambique, because Mozambique is our neighbor. Tanzania will be affected because Cabo Delgado is close to the Mozambique border, Malawi the same, South Africa the same, and therefore people are waiting to hear what the organ, the double troika organ, will come up with in terms of resolutions.
What are the expectations riding on this meeting of the SADC Defense Troika?
Many people are expecting the Troika to announce a decision to intervene, military intervention. I can't see that happening. I think what's going to happen, it will be a communique that speaks to they are monitoring the situation. Currently, Mozambique military is in control, as they have announced yesterday that they have recaptured Palma, and also the insurgents have retreated perhaps to neighboring countries, we don't know, and that there is no fighting currently. The other issue might be an announcement in terms of President Nyusi said that he has requested a particular intervention or help from international community. I think that has got to do with arms supply, and secondly, the issue of training and expertise being extended to that country, as we are aware that the main issue was that in terms of the Air Force of Mozambique, you have to capacitate the Air Force. And perhaps countries such as South Africa, through DNL, they can agree to provide training for the people who are flying those military choppers in Mozambique. I think for me, that's what I expect. And of course, a strong statement that condemns the incident. But secondly, the strong statement that the SADC stands with the member country, Mozambique.
We're talking to SABC News foreign editor Sophie Mokoena. They're talking about President Cyril Ramaphosa arriving in Mozambique. Sophie, is he one of the first ones to arrive?
He is not the first one to arrive. Malawi is quite close, and Tanzania, and those leaders arrived earlier on. But also, Desiree, the issue of ensuring that there's peace and stability in Mozambique is quite important, particularly during this time of COVID-19. Earlier on, the director of African CDC responded to SABC's question on the impact of this conflict in terms of fighting COVID-19 in that area. Secondly, in terms of ensuring that there's access to vaccines, the communities there are able to get support. Let's take a listen at what Dr. John Tengasong had to say earlier on about the conflict and impact thereof on the continent during this time.
Do not bode well with the ability to fight a disease. I mean, that is simple stated. So in any area of Africa, countries or region that we experiences conflicts, it will delay the fight against the COVID-19, be it in the ability to roll out vaccines or impose or actually implement basic public health measures. So conflicts are really detrimental to any efforts to fight the pandemic or outbreaks. We saw this in DRC, in North Kivu, where it took us more than 2 years to beat back the Ebola outbreak, even though we had all the good tools in the field. I mean, we had good monoclonal antibodies. We had 2 vaccines that could be used for ring vaccination. But yet, because of the conflict there, it took almost 2 years to defeat that Ebola outbreak. So that is really not good for the ability to rapidly eliminate or fight a pandemic.
Dr. John Nkenga's song. But Sophie, quite important insights coming out from Dr. Nkenga's song there.
Yes, quite an important, issue there or comment there. But also, you must remember, me and you, we are women, and we normally face the triple oppression in our respective countries as women on the continent. You can imagine the women in that area, how they are suffering. And you can see them when you look at the visuals. Majority of people running, trying to get shelter and security are women and with children, So I think to have in the South African delegation, the Minister of Defense, who is a woman, the Minister of International Relations, who is a woman, and also the Minister of Intelligence, who is also a woman, but also the head of state of Tanzania, Dr. Hassan, who will be making her first appearance at the SADC meeting as a head of state, will assist because they will have that approach in terms of engendering the agenda, but also of fighting to ensure that whatever is done, women do benefit. And I think it is a story on its own to say, as this discussion is going to take place, on the discussion table, you have lots and lots of women.
Just about the significance of the president taking through the ministers of these particular portfolios, international relations, the defense, and state security. What does it say about how the president is approaching this intervention?
It's a security cluster. He has no choice. It's not an economic matter only here. It might be, maybe later he can bring in the ministers of economic cluster, but the minister of security cluster, peace and security are quite important. The minister of defense, with the defense a week ago being there to evacuate South African citizens. And if there's an agreement on technical assistance, clearly you'll have to speak to the Minister of Defense and the head of the army and the Minister of International Relations. The troika is about security, defense, and politics. And the minister as the super diplomat, on the chief diplomat of South Africa. She has to look at diplomatic issues and language and diplomatic relations as decisions are taken that doesn't affect the diplomatic relations. And SADC is speaking in one voice. The Minister of Intelligence, you must gather intelligence. You must understand the beast you are dealing with. You must know the movements, where these people are, what are they fighting for. Even on the ground in Mozambique, you can't treat it as a security matter and military intervention. You have to really look at the root cause of this thing. It is poor service delivery. The people of that region have been neglected, and they are now rising up, and now these groups are taking advantage. A similar situation in South Africa will play itself if politicians are not prioritizing the need of the poor, the marginalized, women in the countryside in particular, and they focus on issues that are related to the wealthy, the rich, those who are living in urban areas. People will be restless, and this is a problem on the continent, ignoring, neglecting societies after liberation.
Thank you so much for bringing us up to speed. Of course, it's a story we'll continue to follow. Let's take you